Another common type of factoring would be factoring the sum or difference of cubes. Unlike the difference of squares, we do have the counterpart sum of cubes. It does not matter if you are adding cubes or subtracting cubes, you are still going to be able to factor them. Now, when you have a problem ready to be factored, it's not that scary. There's only two terms. It's a binomial. But when you factor it, it actually becomes much longer. When you're factoring a sum or difference of cubes, you get a binomial multiplied by a trinomial. So it looks way longer actually factored out. So let's start an example. There is a strict pattern to it. It will never fail. We're going to go through the steps that I have written out right here for each example, but it will never fail you. So I always happen to draw out the binomial and the trinomial so that I know what I need to kind of fill in. Step number one would be to do the binomial. We're going to take the cube root of each term in these expressions. So in order to be able to factor a sum or difference of cubes, you need to have two things that are cubes of each other. So cubes of something, whether it be a number or a variable or a number and a variable together as one term. So in this case, a cubed, well, a is what is cubed in that sense. And 64 is the cube of the number 4. So I'm not going to worry about the sign in here, adding or subtracting. We're going to talk about that later in a second. But so we're going to just take the cube root of the first term and the cube root of the second term. Now, to figure out the trinomial, never failing, the first term in the trinomial is u squaring the first term in the binomial, so a squared. The last term in the trinomial is squaring the last term in the binomial, which would be 16. To get the number in the middle, we are going to take a and 4, the two terms in the first binomial, and you're going to multiply them together. Now we are going to remember this mnemonic device, SOAP, which stands for the same sign, the opposite sign, and the always positive. Hence the SOAP. Same means it's the same sign as what was in the original problem. Opposite means it's the opposite of whatever we just put there. So since I put an adding, I'm going to have a subtracting. And always positive means regardless, that last sign is positive. That is the pattern, and it will never fail us. So let's try one more. We're going to draw out the binomial, the trinomial. I have a cubed, so that's going to just be an a. Now in this case, I happen to have both a coefficient and a variable. That's okay. 27 is 3 cubed, and b cubed is obviously going to just be a b. So I'm going to square the first. I am going to square the last. So 3b squared is 9b squared. And I'm going to multiply them in the middle. Now, since I do have a coefficient, I'll just write it and rearrange it so that the coefficient is first. So then we're going to have the same. So this case is negative. So I have subtracting, opposite, always positive.